There's a big difference between talking and reporting, especially right now with a fire hose worth of news coming your way. You know what helps? Having reporters in the field. I'm Brad Milkey from ABC News, and that's what we've got on ABC's daily podcast, Start Here. Every morning, Start Here takes you across the country and around the world for a quick, smart look at the stories that matter. It's fast, it's straightforward, and sometimes, gasp, news can even be fun. So let's meet up tomorrow morning. Listen to Start Here wherever you get your podcasts.
Today on CityCast Chicago. Mardi Gras is on Tuesday, but for many Chicagoans, we know the holiday as Paczki Day. That's because Chicago has one of the country's largest Polish populations, and of course, because Paczki are delicious and a great way to celebrate. Hey, there's still time to get your orders in for the traditional Polish treats, but we wanted to indulge early with a little taste test. It's Wednesday, February 7th. I'm Jacoby Cochran, and this is what Chicago's talking about. I'm sitting here at Hopewell Brewing Company in Logan Square with Joanna Marszałek, a journalist in Chicago who covers the Polish community. Joanna, welcome back to CityCast.
Good to see you again and good to meet you in person.
No, it is great to meet you in person. Usually when we do these interviews over Zoom, but today we had to have you because we are talking about, I'm sure you might correct my pronunciation if I get it wrong, Paczki Day.
Actually, you did very good, actually. I was expecting to hear something different, but you did great. Paczki.
For longtime listeners, you might remember Joanna, who taught us all about Jackowo, a neighborhood that you might be more familiar with as Avondale in the history of Chicago's Polish community. And Paczki Day is a celebration that coincides with Fat Tuesday. And so we're here to not only try a few, but to learn a little bit about the history. And so, Joanna, what exactly are Paczki?
Paczki. So they are a type of traditional Polish pastry, I would say. You can kind of call them donuts, but not really. And one thing you should know is that we eat Paczki throughout the year. It's not just a one occasion. So you can, here in Chicago, you can buy Paczki in different Polish bakeries all year round. Other thing that you should know is that for us and for people who are originally from Poland, it is a Fat Thursday that we celebrate, not necessarily Fat Tuesday. However, here in Chicago, we celebrate double, right? So it's fun, it's delicious.
You said it's like a donut, but different. So what are some of the similarities? What are some of the differences?
It's a good question. So I didn't know myself, so I did a little bit of research, and I found out that basically it's the dough. It's in the dough. The dough is much richer in Paczki. It has apparently it has more egg.
Okay.
Another thing that I should mention is that it's one pączek and many pączki.
Right.
Okay? So you may hear sometimes pączek, sometimes pączki.
So can I get a pączek means just give me one.
Give me one,
exactly. I need a box of pączki.
Yes. That's right. Yes.
So for people who might not be familiar, but they have heard things like Fat Tuesday or Mardi Gras, that is typically the day before Ash Wednesday when Lent starts up. And so I remember as a kid, because I went to a Catholic school in Gresham, Fat Tuesday basically was one of the best days in our school because they would set up tables, they would bring in a ton of candy, bring in a ton of donuts, bring in a ton of like nachos and sweets, and we would all have that before Ash Wednesday the next day.
Really?
But how did Paczki become such a symbolic treat for the Polish community?
So I found out also doing some research because Paczki is such a common thing. You don't really think about it on a daily basis, but the tradition comes from medieval times where people wanted to use all their eggs, all their butter, and all the other products that would normally be banned during Lent. So you just grab all the products and you do a big batch of Paczki and you invite your family and you eat them all.
So how did that tradition grow in Chicago to the point that bakers expect to be selling maybe tens of thousands between that Thursday and that next Tuesday?
I mean, with such a huge Polish population that we have here in Chicago, there's just no way that pączki wouldn't be here. I mean, it's just, they were imported together with the Polish people from Poland.
What are some of your maybe favorite memories from celebrating Paczki Day in past?
Back in Poland, I remember that there were long, long lines in stores to get pączki on Fat Thursday. And I did not stand in those lines because my dad would make them at home. My dad also had a restaurant, so I was lucky to have a good quality pączki made by my dad. But I do remember those lines on Fat Thursday, especially in big cities like Kraków or like Warsaw. Yeah.
I know that pączki come with different flavorings inside, maybe strawberry or other fruits. What is your dad's go-to? Because you said he would make them,
No.
and then I got to know what's your favorite.
Okay, so wait, let's clarify all the fillings. So here in the United States or in Chicago, you will find the pudding, the Nutella, pistachio paste, fresh strawberry, like all kind of different fillings. But what I remember, the traditional, what I consider a real original pączki would have either plum butter or prune or rose. And these are the ones that were, back in Poland, they were available for decades. And I believe right now, I mean, I know that now they also kind of upgraded to all kind of different flavors, different fillings, and different, well, not the shapes. The shape stays the same, but sizes too. Because other things here in America, like everything is bigger. So that was one of the first things I noticed when I came. So also, of course, pączki are also much bigger. The standard pączek is much smaller. It's like the handful size. Does it make sense? An American pączek is big.
It sounds like it goes from like maybe a tennis ball to maybe like a softball.
Yes.
Okay.
You get that right.
Shipping can make or break a sale, so optimize how you ship your orders with ShipStation. They make it easy to automate and manage orders no matter how big your business grows. And they might even be able to help reduce shipping and warehouse costs. So optimize and keep up your momentum for growth with ShipStation. Sign up for your free 60-day trial now at ShipStation.com and use the code POD. That's ShipStation.com with the code POD.
I know Simone went out, as she always does, and rounded up a few pączki for us to try on this beautiful day. Simone, you want to break those out?
Yeah. I have one custard and one plum.
I take plum.
So Simone got me a chocolate-covered pączek with a custard filling from Benison's Bakery in Evanston. It's not specifically a Polish bakery, but a European-style bakery that's been around for more than 80 years. And they're offering pączki for picking up through the 17th, but we're also able to just walk up to the counter today and get them. They're also hosting a pączki eating contest on Sunday, February 10th.
I like the size so far. The size is just right. Not too big, not too small, just perfect. I can tell you that this pączek has been Americanized because it is cut and the filling is not like injected or inside, but it's like a sandwich. But it doesn't,
Mine has the custard injection. They didn't cut mine in half, but they did for you. It's definitely a little thicker than a donut.
And what I like, even if though it's like a sandwich style, I like that the prune is throughout the pączek because sometimes when you just have like a traditional Polish pączek, you need to wait until you make it until the filling. But here you got it right with the first bite.
The custard inside of this Benison's is really good. Again, the dough is closer to maybe like a brioche loaf. The chocolate is really good. It's not too much. No, I'm a big fan of this.
I like this one too. The plum butter is just perfect, not too sweet. It's just the way it should be, actually.
Seriously, they did not skimp on the custard filling. Benison's do you right. So when you are sort of judging a good pączek, What are you immediately looking for?
So the size and the shape.
Okay.
It has to be nice and round and puffy. It has to be soft. And it should not be soaked in oil or fat.
Okay.
It shouldn't. Because, obviously they are fried in oil or in lard sometimes. So it's easy to, when you don't have the right temperature, it's easy to either burn them or make them soaked in that fat. Yeah.
In Chicago, lots of bakers try their hands at Paczki during this season. Do you have any takes on the traditional Paczki that you prefer versus maybe, like you said, the more Americanized versions?
Yeah, I like the classic pączek. I like classic pączki, and for me, I would always choose the one that has sugar powder on top.
Okay.
Not the chocolate or not the.
Was that cinnamon sugar or is that just sugar on top
This
of
is
yours?
actually cinnamon.
Okay.
I mean, it tastes good. It is
Okay.
still a good pastry, but it's, in my mind, it's not like a traditional standard pączek.
Okay.
Have you ever had a more non-traditional one that surprised you?
This one surprised me.
So for our second set of Paczki, we wanted to go to Delightful Pastries in Jefferson Park, but we still wanted to give them a shout out. They're a Polish-owned bakery. They make thousands of Paczki during this time. But, they sold out because, obviously, they are fire. So Simone called a quick audible and hit over Laramie Bakery and Deli in Belmont Cragen. And according to their website, they've been open since 1986. They are a Polish bakery. So let's see what these is hitting for. So Laramie hooked us up with an apricot and a strawberries and cheese. Oh, which one jumps out to you on that one?
So I'll take the one that doesn't look like a sandwich. So
Okay.
All right, for a change.
All right. So I'm going to get the more sandwich-like pączek. They're both covered in powdered sugar. This looks like the strawberry and cheese.
Smacznego. See, you gotta wait for the filling.
Not gonna lie. That shocked me. The strawberries are really good. They're coming out the backside.
Are these pieces of fruit
Yes.
covered in kind of jelly?
I think it's like a strawberry jelly or strawberry filling with, I don't know, is that supposed to be cream cheese? Yeah, okay, with like cream cheese.
Still nothing.
Joanna is 2 bites in on her second pączek and still no apricot filling.
So you told me it's apricot filling, but many times when you get like a whole tray of pączki, a traditional Polish pączki, that you cannot see what's inside, it's like there is a surprise element, right?
Oh.
What am I gonna get? I wanna get a rose, but is it gonna be a rose or is it gonna be a plum butter?
That is always the con of a jelly-filled donut. Because if you would have gone in the other way, it seems like the apricot would have been
and
right there.
you always wanna get, you kind of wanna get a lot of filling, right? So if it's just a little bit, you end up being disappointed.
And you're a little tired. You've already had 3 bites. Still hunting for the apricot bite. I will say, though, while this is a messier pączek, the strawberry and cheese was really good. I thought they blended with each other very well. Again, I think it's deceptively soft. It looks like it's going to be a little bit harder because it kind of looks like an uncut bun. But both so far have been nice and soft.
So I have to give it another bite to really appreciate the flavor of the filling. Because look, I just got a small piece, so
Oh, there it is. There it is.
it's good. It's unusual, but it's good. Oh, look at that.
All right. So for the last one, Simone shot over to Polish Pączki Cafe in Norwood Park. I mean, they got to be good. They put it in the name, right? Joanna, this is one of the ones you recommended to us. What can you tell us about this one?
Well, I'll tell you that I have never tried them, but I heard so much about this place, and I've seen lines in front of that place. And I read online that if you want to get pączki, especially on Pączki Day, you should probably be in line at 6 a.m.
Oh, wow.
So I thought, we gotta try it.
Okay. So the word of mouth is we finally got them in front of you. And it's of the three, it sort of most closely links to that idea of a surprise, because right now I have no idea what's inside of them. They're all closed off, all got a nice glaze on them. They look a bit darker than the ones before.
You are right. Yes, they do. They do. And the glaze is a familiar thing, but the thing on top, I have no idea what it is.
Yeah, I was like, I can't tell if it's lemon zest or orange zest. But let's give it a try.
Let's give it a try.
I'm going to dive into this one in the...
Oh, they are warm.
Oh, come on.
Mine is warm.
Oh, my God. Now, that's soft. I don't think there's any other word to describe that.
So mine is warm, and I think it's rose inside. But it's it has a twist. I don't know what it is.
Definitely taste that. I think that is lemon.
I got my feeling at the first bite.
Same. Again, much softer. Maybe that's because of the timing, but for whatever reason, I would have expected, because of it being a slightly darker dough, that it set longer, and so maybe it hardened a bit. But no,
not at all, right?
No, that's a complete swerve job on you.
And it is really interesting to eat them warm, because that's not any type of normal thing, I would say. You normally wait for them to cool down a little bit, but it tastes great.
Do any of the three most closely remind you of a traditional ponchek?
No, each of them is different.
Okay.
Each of them was really good, and I would say I would combine something from each of them to make a perfect ponchak. Like with this one, I really like the shape and the outside, like the drink has a little something on top. I like the plum, the prune was it the first one or the
first
second?
One
the first one
from Benison's.
And I like the sugar powder from the second.
I like that. I love that we didn't have to rank them in any way. They just sort of all sort of stuck out on their own. I will say the strawberry and cheese filling was my absolute favorite, and that was from Laramie. I really did enjoy the glaze, the softness, the texture, and the hint of lemon zest from Polish Paczki Cafe and Benison's. I just thought the custard ratio, they did not skimp you on the custard, and it was very good, balanced with the chocolate. And I think the custard and chocolate was so good that, the dough was probably the least soft of the three, but the flavor really carried in those fillings. So yeah, I loved all three too.
Yep.
It feels like in our conversation back in the day about Jackowo, so much of that story was Polish immigrants and Polish Americans eventually moving to the suburbs. So I imagine that a lot of the bakeries as well moved that way. Are there still a presence of Polish bakeries in the suburbs that not only celebrate Paczki Day, but make them year round?
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yes, in the suburbs, definitely. And I'm sure that you had a chance to experience, when you were looking for them, that there were more choices in the suburbs.
Okay.
So if we could turn back the time and let's say it's 40 years ago, 30 years ago, and we just keep going along Milwaukee Avenue Northwest, you would have plenty of different bakeries full of people, maybe even lines. But now, not so much. But the most important is that you can still find them. You just have to drive a little bit further.
What does that say to you, that even despite people, the population really shifting towards the suburbs, that it's still something that you're going to see not only podcasts about, but you'll see on the news, you'll see lines and lines and thousands of them sold. How do you feel to know that it's still endured in this way?
Well, I would say I am glad that even if this is just a ponchak, right? It is going to, like you guys, it's going to make you interested in the Polish culture, tradition, people, food. And there are a lot of those traditions that we bring to Chicago. And sometimes they are very Americanized, like I said. They seem more American than Polish sometimes. But even if it's just a small element that can be the beginning of the journey of learning more about Poland, about Polish people and Polish culture, traditions, history, that's good enough for me.
Even though a lot of our locations were sort of northwest and north, we've also got some suggestions. Baranowski in Franklin Park, KD Market has several suburban locations, Hannah's Bakery in Bloomingdale, and then on the south side, you can find them at Racine Bakery and Weber's Bakery, both in Garfield Ridge. Joanna, anything else before we, maybe scarf down a couple more of these Ponchek?
Well, I'd like to wish everyone happy Fat Thursday, Fat Tuesday, Paczki Day, and remember, it's Paczki, not Paczki.
Before I let you go, I want to take a quick moment to speak directly to all my Chicago sports fans. It's been rough. It's been rough. Mostly bad news, right? The Sox and the Cubs offseason has been, let's just say it, boring. I ain't got no idea what the Bears are going to do with this first pick. Zach LaVine is out for the rest of the Bulls season with an injury, and rookie sensation and NHL All-Star Connor Bedard is still recovering from a broken jaw. And now, to make things worse, the Sky have traded away franchise player and former Finals MVP Kalia Copper. I mean, right now, the Red Stars and the Fire might be the only Chicago teams making just a little bit of positive news. It's real tough. It's real tough. But I want to remind you, there are brighter days ahead. Maybe not technically for your favorite Chicago franchise, but literally, there are brighter Chicago days ahead. So just hold on to that tight. Hold on to it. And if you need to vent, remember, I'm here for you. We here for you. Our inbox is always open. You can send us a text or a voicemail at 773-780-0246. Leave your name, your neighborhood, and go ahead and leave a little rant. I mean, if it's filled with cuss words and tears, it might not make the podcast, but I'ma still empathize with you. I will understand. All right, now for everybody else, some good news. Lunar New Year celebrations are picking up this week with a concert tonight at the Old Town School of Folk Music, and tomorrow morning, a celebration at the Field Museum. For more events, check out the link in our show notes, and make sure you subscribe to our daily newsletter, Hey Chicago. I'm going to be here bright and early tomorrow morning. Hopefully you'll join me. And if you got some time, bring a friend or a family member with you. I mean, they ain't got to be in the room or in the car with you, or maybe you listening in the bathroom right now. You can still do that solo, but just continue to put us on with your community. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Peace.